Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for another kind of one-off video. I'm not even sure where I'm going to put this or what I'm even going to title it at the moment. But I woke up earlier this morning and I was perusing my YouTube feed, and something caught my attention. And you know how YouTube and social media and all that is. Once you start doing something, you go down this rabbit hole and you watch their playthings. It's like, oh wow, God, I remember that from way, way back in the day. And I went down this rabbit hole of the demo scene and some of the demos that I remember watching in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s and how they blew my mind back in the day. And we are going to watch a couple of these, and I'm just going to kind of, I guess, give my reaction to them and explain kind of what made them so cool. I swear to God, I maybe did some sort of a video on this in the past, like many years ago. Um, I think at least for the Future Crew one, but I'll be damned if I can find it. So yeah, we are gonna just do it again because, like I said, it's still 25, 30 plus years later. It's still pretty dang cool. So, before we get into, I'm gonna do 3 demos we're gonna watch. And before I get into those, like, what is the demo scene? You know, I've done all kinds of game demos. You know, I have a whole demo time playlist for game demos. That's not what this is. This is, I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't done a whole lot of research, but several times over the past, I don't know, couple decades, I've periodically gone in and kind of looked for some cool demos to watch and look at and run. So the demo scene, basically, it's this group of people who are super super into like optimizing programming, optimizing code, pushing graphics and sound and technical capability of older devices to its absolute limit. And so there are demos there. I know there are different categories for different types of machines and things. So there were people that would do Commodore 64 demos or DOS demos, Apple II, I think. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, but like you're using this ancient hardware, like so now today, you have your image files, your sound files, and everything. You got all these 1080p, 1440p, 4K textures and everything, and games are anywhere between 50 and like 300 gigabytes now. What they were doing, and keep in mind, this is before 3D acceleration. Most of these demos are before 3D acceleration happened. So you were literally like hard coding what you wanted the computer to do and what you wanted it to run. This is not like you're pre-rendering something and you're just playing back a movie. Now we are going to be watching these on YouTube, but these were executable files that you would run on your computer. And if your computer wasn't fast enough, it just wouldn't run, or it would be choppy, or it would crash. I remember seeing these first couple of videos in 1995. Like, I've looked at a lot of other demos, but there's one that just stands out from the early to late 90s, Future Crew. I believe they actually, after a few years of winning the Demo Scene Awards, if I remember correctly, I seem to remember reading that they actually were no longer allowed to compete because they just annihilated everybody every time. And um, so yeah, they were really pushing the, the demo scene. They were really pushing the hardware. And the third demo that I'm going to show you, we'll talk about one before we get into it, but the third one is called The Product, FR28, The Product. I was in college when this came out, and that demo blew my frickin' mind. Not that it's the most graphically insane thing I've ever seen, but when you watch this demo, keep in mind, this was meant to fit on 64K. You could put that on a floppy disk and run it. In fact, to make sure that it wasn't doing any shenanigans, because I couldn't believe it. We're like, we were in the dorms at that time, and we're like, they got to be streaming this off the internet. There's some trick to this. So we took a computer that was completely offline, no wireless card. This is early 2000s, so not everything had Wi-Fi in it. A lot of things didn't have Wi-Fi in it. So we literally put the file onto a floppy drive or a floppy disk, put it on this computer that was isolated, and ran it. And sure as hell, it ran. So we're just going to go through a couple of my favorite demo scene memories here, and I will leave a link in the description to all of the videos that I use in this video that I'm kind of reacting to. I will leave that in the description below so you can watch, and you have the source for the original demo videos that we're going to watch here. So let's bring up my watch list here. We're going to start with, I believe this one came first. There's two Future Crew videos, so we're going to watch Panic. And wear headphones. Future Crew. Wear good headphones. A lot of these are really abstract art going along with the audio. And so we're just getting like text scrolling with different effects. Now, again, this seems very simple by today's standards. You got this kind of graphic-y effect. Now, this is cool. These little line art things going super fast. Again, this might seem very simple by today's processing standards, but think about like your processor is generating and producing this like on its own, no 3D acceleration, the audio and video. This is trippy as hell. I don't even know how to describe half of what's happening here. But if you have some usable vision, this is pretty cool. So then you got this little monitor looking thing. And they would do things where they would do, like you're cruising down a tunnel, or they would put images and like have the lighting. Like in the middle of this picture here, you see you're kind of going through this space, but you see this blue, these blue colors going on. Now you have this red, like polygonal shape spinning around in front of the monitor, or in front of the thing. And there's like little patterns on, almost looks like kind of like a lava texture, almost like. And it was showing really how your computer could render and produce all of these graphical and sound effects when people didn't think they were that capable. Because remember, when, 8 and 16-bit, oh, that's kind of cool. 8 and 16-bit consoles, I was used to playing Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and everything was generally 2D. You would have rudimentary 3D effects, but they were just, they were really choppy, or they were like, frames where it was like kind of like the first-person dungeon crawlers where you have a scene and you flick forward and you kind of just jump forward instead of a smooth movement. And PCs, like DOS PCs back in the day, again, look at what id Software did with Commander Keen, and then Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, Catacomb 3D, all those things, where before that, computers compared to game consoles were kind of seen as really being limited. You know, consoles could do smooth scrolling, they could do transparency effects, they could do all these different things. And then your computer games were a lot more single screen, static games. You know, if it was a multi-screen game, you would go to the edge of the screen and then it would, you know, it would kind of refresh. You know, kind of think of the original Legend of Zelda, where you would go on a screen and then it would refresh and it would show you a new play area. So yeah, well, like I said, we got all these that cool look. What is that? Like a wolf man looking guy. And there you go. That is Panics. That one's a short one. So Panics is well, it was like a little over 4 minutes. Now, the next one we're going to look at is called Second Reality. It is also by Future Crew. This is the one, I saw this in 1995. It came out in 1993. I think Panics came out the year before. I forget exactly, but, or Panic. 1993, this came out. And I saw it in 1995. And I was out at the University of Washington for the Do It program, and one of my friends out there that I was friends with, I met through there. He was really into, you know, Doom and Quake and these demo. He's who introduced me to the demo scene. And we had these Pentium computers in the lab that we were playing with. And they were able to finally run these things, because people could kind of run them on a 386, but you really needed like a 486 to be able to run them halfway decently. But I remember us running them in the tech lab. And so Second Reality, you know, again, so a lot of these, there's no story really. There's nothing really connecting them. A lot of it is really abstract, so it's hard for me to really visually describe what's going on, especially since things change so quickly. So I apologize, you know, if you're totally blind and you're not getting a lot out of this. I don't know how to describe it better. But just thinking from a technical standpoint, these things kind of blew my mind, because again, you were looking at these, you know, you played a lot of PC games back in the day, and they were a lot simpler until id Came along and did their, you know, they figured out their 2D side scrolling. They could figure out how to do that on some of these underpowered PCs. That's not what they were designed to do compared to console hardware. And so let's watch Second Reality. And they love their techno. The demo scene is really it really came out of Europe, I believe, and but it was like a lot of the demos that I remember watching. They're very, very heavily techno based. I don't remember seeing all that many other types of music, but you know, they're generated by MIDI, or I don't know how they did it, but so we got some text here. Dolby Surround. Okay. It's kind of cool watching this in with my good pair of headphones too here. Every few years I have to go back and watch these, because they still, again, if you're looking at them just from a, oh, look at how good these graphics are standpoint, yeah, they're primitive compared to even today's indie games. But when you consider you download this tiny file off the internet, I don't know how big the Future Crew demo files were. I had them on my computer, my older computer, like 5-7 years ago. They might be on an old hard drive somewhere still, but they're not that big. And as I said, the product is under a meg. 64K. So we got this cool little space scene. Almost got like a Star Wars opening shot. Looks like some TIE fighters, almost kind of a thing chasing it. And now we're going to kick in. Boom. Explosion. Future crew. But yeah, second reality. So you got this checkerboard on the bottom. And you have this polygon that's spinning and bouncing. And what these are trying to show, you know, it's abstract, but what it's trying to show is now we have two polygons. We got like a red one and a grayish one, and you see how the colors are bleeding together, and yet everything is like the lighting and the color blending. It's really what it's meant to show, graphic showcase. That's what all these things are. Now you got this cool tunnel effect. You're kind of swooping around and going up, down, left, and right. It's going through like this space wormhole looking thing. And now there's this other... Again, I don't even know how to describe this. This spinny... I don't know. It's like spinny lines and effects, but you got this like wave kind of effect. Get down. Another kind of cool effect. Again, I have no idea how to describe. Like some of these I can describe. Some of these they're random effects that I have no clue how to explain other than it looks cool as hell. And this was in, like, again, this was in 1993 when it was made. I watched it in 95. This blew my mind. Yeah, some weird looking big dude. Kind of like an animated dude. Cut to black. Oh, there's way more. You got this cool leaf thing. I can't see it, but I remember my friend telling me that you can actually see words in the leaves if you look closely. I can't see it. But again, 1995, like the amount of detail. This is when I was introduced to Doom and Wolfenstein 3D and these. Okay, now you got this weird looking dude with a like tattoo on his head, like a star tattoo, and there's like this bubble, blue bubble that's kind of morphing and it's morphing and doing all kinds of stuff. And now there's a bunch of these heads that are spinning around. Just spinning around counterclockwise. And it zooms out, and there's like a whole dozens and dozens of them. That took a lot to do. Yeah, so now you kind of got this plasma looking thing where you get these red and blue, like almost plasma looking type things, and they're just sort of bleeding together and merging again, just to show you like if you had a really good display. You know, remember back in the day you had EGA and VGA, and these were very limited in color. Like, what was it, EGA, you could have, what was it, like 16 colors or something? I remember when 256 colors was a big deal. This is cool. I still think these reflections are cool. This cube, especially the blue, the green, the blue one, it looks metallic. This still looks cool. There's something about the way the warping of like the shiny reflections. I don't even know how to describe it, but it still looks cool. That still kind of blows me away. And now you have this gray, this kind of ground and black sky, but you got this, it almost looks like a string of beads that just swoops around in rings and makes different patterns. And again, a modern computer could handle this fine, but trying to get a 486 to run and show all and render these particle effects. Oh, this is kind of cool. I like when the flames come out in a bit. So you got this kind of cool... Yeah, look at that. That's a cool fire effect. That's neat. That's neat. Ah, the waves. That was kind of a neat thing. I remember liking this too. Kind of going left and then right, and then they merge together, and it's just kind of showing like almost like a rendering low polygon like fluid effects. Because it looks really kind of like liquid, but kind of... I don't even know. And that weird deforming of the picture bouncing there. Again, that was hard to do back in the day. It's very simple by today's standards, but it's still really cool. Oh yeah, and then the almost like VR-esque. Everything is low polygon, Star Fox, black and white. But you're this little spaceship flying through this cool little city. You got some trees there. You got some black streets. I mean, this is 90s VR. This has 90s VR written all over it. You think of something like Lawnmower Man or whatever. And what's cool, you're going through this city, you're like, oh yeah, okay, it's a cool city of these low polygon things. Flies up out of the city. Zooms out. We're swooping down in through the buildings. Oh, what is this? And it just turns out to say Future Crew. That's pretty cool. Ship flies away, and then you got these little like washers or whatever. You got, it says Future Crew on them. It's like they're kind of engraved, and then you have the credits. Graphics. So you got all the, it shows the different scenes here. The credits for all the different animation bits of it. So there's the little second reality thing here, graphics. There's the checkerboard polygon scene, the tunnel scene. That other cool effect that I have no idea how to describe. Another one I really don't know how to describe. The weird animated dude. The leaves. And there's the weird head that spins around. Yeah, a bunch of heads spinning around. Cool music, though. There's the plasma. There's the cube. Yeah, that blue looks really cool. I love the way they do that. And there's the weird little line of beads thing. And the flame effect deal. And the waves. And then the picture morphing. And finally the spaceship city sequence. And the cool little Future Crew things. Yeah, and then we just have more credits. I think that's it. I think the rest is just actual credits. Second reality, 1993. God dang, son. For 1993, that is damned impressive. Over 30 years later, this is still cool. Especially, again, you think about how old the hardware you're running this on. It's not like you're just watching a movie. Your computer has to like actually create this. So yeah, that is Second Reality. And it's bugging me because I swear to God I did a video of at least this demo. It's probably been 7-8 years ago or better when I did it, but like I said, I was trying to search my channel, look at my playlist, and I can't find it. So maybe maybe I never uploaded it or something, or I just don't know what I named it. Don't know what playlist I put it under. You know, we could end this demo right now, but I figure let's go through the credits because we got to give mad respect to everybody who created these things, you know? Show the whole thing. And you get to hear more of the music. What else is there to say? It's a really niche thing, and it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But if you are interested in game design, technology design, graphics, audio, these are neat. And the other thing that I really get out of these is, again, you're programming your computer to do these things with such limited resources. And every time I watch these types of demos from the demo scene, I'm thinking, I know it's a lot of work, but modern game designers could really learn a thing. I mean, these types of demos should be taught in computer science, computer architecture, programming, game design classes. Because, as I said, games have gotten so damn big these days that it's insane, you know, especially we're going to SSDs, and granted, they've gone down a lot in price, you know, but compared to a spinning hard drive where you can get like a 8 terabyte drive for probably $100 or $200 tops, I don't even know. You know, you're looking at a 1-2 terabyte drive for that. And when you consider, as I said, some of these games are 100 to 200 or more gigabytes in space, the fact that you're doing this in a capacity of 1 to a few floppy disks worth of data. You know, again, are these going to look photorealistic? No. Are they going to look like modern games today? No. But the point is, with the resources that they had, they did some pretty fascinating stuff. I think we're getting down to it here. Oh, PC distribution, okay. Yeah, Future Crew, man. There was another one, I know there were 3 of them, and I don't remember what the other one was. I remember Panic, and I remember Second Reality. There was another one that I think was even earlier than Panic. But these 2 are the 2 that I definitely remember the most from back in the day. There's another, the product demo. It was more than a meg, but it was not very much more than a meg. And it was really kind of cool because it did a lot with like reflections and stuff, and there was like a bunch of dancing dudes. Again, kind of this whole electronica style music, and I don't. It was like FR29 or something. I can't remember what it was. Maybe I'll try a search for it. But so now here is the product. Now this is not Future Crew anymore. This is what I saw in like 2001-ish or so. And again, the whole thing for these guys is they were trying to do ungodly amounts of graphic and sound information in a tiny, tiny amount of data. They actually, even based on this technology, and I don't know if I still have it on a hard drive somewhere, it was only like a couple of megs tops, I think. They took this technology and made it was a dead simple game, but it was like a first-person shooter, and you just had a little like plasma pistol or something like that, if I remember correctly, and you were shooting little spider enemies and such. I mean, like I said, it wasn't a great game per se. I mean, it was fine for what it was. But the fact that they were getting back then that graphic fidelity in such a small package. So let's watch this, the product. What the hell? Here we go. Yep, so you see the loading bar, and your computer, again, is generating all of this on its own. They have a couple of really weird artwork things. So you're down this hallway, and you got these interesting little, like, lights on the wall. I don't even know how to describe some of the imagery. Kind of an outdoor looking thing. You got some castle building thing with like horns on it. We're just kind of panning around some landscape, and again, like, it's very kind of, I don't want to say low polygon, but like it's definitely got a unique style to it. There's your little horn thing, your door, kind of a castle. But again, for fitting on a floppy disk, this blew my mind. I was obsessed with this for like a week in college. I'm like, how in the hell are they doing this? So now you got this kind of metallic floor with these abstract sculptures that I don't really know how to describe. And now you got these weird worm-looking animal things in a cage. That's probably the weirdest one. Comes out of nowhere. And this was kind of a cool lighting thing. So you got this little spinny pattern. It pulls out, the camera pulls out. Beautiful. That's the text that's in there. And you got, so now it pans out, and there's all these like windows. And you see these light rays coming in, and you're seeing through multiple of them at a time, and you're seeing how the light sort of changes, the lighting changes. It's very hard to explain if you can't see it, but it's cool. Kind of got this cathedral style environment that we're sort of swooping and panning through. Kind of an overhead lighting shot. Now you're going through these, kind of zooming back through a weird tunnel thing. This part was cool. Now you're going it's another type of tunnel, but I love these sort of like, I'm a sucker for like the chrome, like shiny effects thing. And so the screen is sort of like shaking to the bass beat as it's panning around and swooping around, showing the graphics. Again, it's very hard to explain. The product will something. So it's a bunch of little text that's like, the product will make you happy, the product will whatever. And so now it's this kind of outdoor environment. You got a fence, you've got some little towers. Almost reminds me of like, my parents had these little like coin holder thing where they were like little towers, and you could put like, one had 1 fit quarters, 1 fit nickels, and whatnot. And now you have this other platform with like a sculpture in it. And then, I don't even know how to describe the sculpture, but it's cool. One thing while watching this, the thing that I think I noticed that maybe isn't quite as impressive, like it's still very, very cool. But it's like all the textures sort of have like a, you know, think about matte finish versus a glossy finish. And I think some of those would almost be like more impressive if they had more of a shine to them. So now it's kind of doing the whole panning around and showing you all the different scenes that they've shown so far. And these are not all credits. These are like notes from the creator. I could not read through all of these. At first I thought they were credits, but when I was having a friend of mine watch it, they read this to me because they were able to read it. And the whole funny thing about this was, again, they put all this together, and the guy's like, well, we're a little further along. I want to fill up 64K of memory, but I can't think of what else to do. Okay, I added this thing. What else can we add? And so it was just like this kind of almost like a dev diary thing of like, well, we're still not there yet. I can still add a little bit more. So just got this scrolling bit of text here, and they're showing different angles from the different scenes that you've seen so far in the video. So they're showing this is the outside one with the fence around it, but they're doing it from a totally weird, totally different angle. So there's your kind of castle hallway that we started with, a very different angle, just a slow pan around these different environments. Yeah, it's such a weird design. It's kind of got this weird, like, organic, but almost kind of a creepy vibe look to it. Here's our little towers section here. You see the ladder, you see the little balcony walkway around the little towers. Yeah, I think the one thing that would make this even cooler is those little towers, those little pillars. It almost like if they were shiny instead of more of that kind of matte, flat color, that would pop even more. Because then you're doing stuff with crazy reflections, but panning up through the different towers, up through the middle now. Still scrolling text. Not really into electronica and techno all that much, but I gotta say the music in all of these demos is pretty catchy. Pretty catchy, I have to admit. There's enough variety to it, because a lot of techno that I've heard or electronic music is just like the same beat over and over and over, and it's just loops and samples, and I'm just not into that quite as much. But, you know, I like a little bit of everything, so if it's got a catchy rhythm to it, a catchy beat, and now we're kind of zooming. Yeah, we were looking at the little lighting demo thing. Okay, this is the hell? Kind of like that indoor area where we had all those sculptures and stuff. But again, a very strange angle. And now we're in... Okay, yeah, okay, we're just in a very, very close-up of the tube. You see the tube on the outside, but then you got these little, like, almost like a mesh weave kind of thing, like you see on some fences. Huh. And then your little spinny structure there. Again, just showing everything from different angles while they're writing things down and just trying to fill up space. That's the funny thing. It's like, well, keep this thing going. I think this thing is like 15 minutes long. Yeah, the weird worms. They're weird because they don't really have faces. Like they're weird worms, but then they got little concave divots like where their head would be, and they're just really weird and creepy looking. End on the worms, okay. And there you go. Those are... Oh, quit it. No. Okay, you know what? You need to go away. There. So those are the demos. I want to say, is it FR2? Let me look up. FR29 final. I wonder if that... No. The product. Let me just try another search here. The product. Because I would know it if I seen a scene from it. I may not be able to show you that one. I still thought the other one, the one we just watched, was a little bit more impressive, but the product demo. So yeah, that's the one we just watched. I'm just gonna scroll through and see if I can find. It doesn't look like it. Well, anyway, guys, I might try to see, like I said, I swear to God, I did a video on at least one or two of these. Maybe I didn't upload it, or it's buried in some forgotten playlist that I don't update very often. But that is just kind of a look at the demo scene from back in the day. As far as I know, they're still doing it to some degree. It's not a scene that I follow very closely. It's just, it's like every few years I see a comment on social media, or I see something come up in my YouTube feed talking about it, or it'll just come up and go, "Hey, you remember Future Crew?" I'm like, "Yeah, I remember Future Crew. I should watch those again." Um, it's just a really cool lesson in optimization, is what I would have to say. You're taking all of this old hardware and this limited amount of storage space, limited amount of processing power, limited amount of memory, and you're basically making pieces of technology, old computers, do things that you never thought were possible. And because today we have resources that are so plentiful, I mean, come on, like I have 64 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of memory in my current computer. My video card alone has, what is it, 12 gig of memory? Um, I have 3 terabytes, give or take, of solid state storage, and then another 4 terabyte of just regular spinning hard drive storage. That's an ungodly amount of storage and ungodly amount of working memory I mean, this is thousands and thousands of times more storage and processor power and memory than any of these videos had back in the day. And I wish that things were a bit more optimized, because the thing is, especially like with indie game, you get indie developers. That's why we're seeing so much innovation, because people have specific ideas that they want to do. They want to do something unique. They want to stand out. Even if they go back and say, "Oh, I want to make pixel art games. I want to make like a old school Legend of Zelda or Mega Man style game or something." At least you're kind of working in these artificial boundaries, your artificial limitations. And I think that can really make unique things happen. I think that's what can really get people to make unique creative things. If you have to work within some limitations, you think about optimization. You think about, oh, well, we can just throw as much resources as we want to it, and so it'll be bloated and huge and a memory hog and whatever. But if you set limitation standards to say, oh, I want this to run on a Super Nintendo cartridge, or I want this to, play like it did in 1987, you really have to optimize. It really has to, be less buggy to make it work. And that's why I said earlier, just having these types of demos, I think system architecture, programming, game design, these types of degrees, I think they could learn a lot if they had a little section, a little bit of time devoted to these types of demos, graphic and audio demos from the demo scene, because optimization, compression, making the best use of the resources that you have is not a bad thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this random video. I will again remember to leave a link in the description for each one of these videos down below if you want to watch them without my babble behind them. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/IllegallySighted, IllegallySighted.com, and right here on YouTube. Give the video a like if you did. And until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.